Good morning, good evening, good everything in between. Welcome to the podcast, episode 12. I'm your host, Jim Bobernicki, joined by Gabe Lerman.
How are you still awake? We're recording this just after the Baseball for Breakfast on July 27th, by the way. And these two, my co-hosts, have been awake since God knows o'clock. I woke up like at 7:30 and I'm already feeling groggy still.
Well, speaking of our other co-host, my partner both in crime and staying up very late, Mr. Michael Beasley. How you doing, Michael?
Can barely form a sentence. You're fine. I'm fine.
Well, yeah, so as Gabe just mentioned, we just finished wrapping up a Baseball for Breakfast. I hope everyone listening to this gets the chance to check that out. If you didn't, you can always find the replay on the same channel that you're finding this video. So here we are, a week after All-Star Weekend, and it's been a wild time. A lot of news to get to. I just want to do a quick little All-Star Game roundup. The Pacific League picked up 2 huge wins in the All-Star festivities.
Yeah.
So that is somewhat belayed by how poorly we did in the Home Run Derby, where I heard there was some controversy regarding like pitchers pitching things that weren't easy to hit. Did anyone see any of this?
I caught a little bit of that from the NPB punditry on Twitter. Basically, the complaint was that they're pitching it like it's a game, not like it's a batting practice. Like you saw the MLB Derby. We saw managers, we saw fathers, we saw pitching coaches. Here in the Home Run Derby, I think it was like actual bullpen pitchers or relievers or something like that.
Yeah, that seems like a bad idea.
Do you remember the 2019 Home Run Derby with Matt Olson where he had his dad pitch to him and his dad just threw low and away sliders the entire time? He got like 4 home runs or something.
Oh, that's brutal. I remember the one where Bryce Harper's dad was like throwing them too quickly. Like there was like a rule on how quick you could throw them, and he was like, "Nah, just keep going, just keep going." Whenever I think of the Home Run Derby, though, I think I don't know if I'm going to get the year right, but was it 2007 or 2008 when Josh Hamilton hit like 40 in one round, but then he didn't end up winning the thing because then he had to go to the final round and he was so tired. And Justin Morneau.
It was the same with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Cody Bellinger, I think it was, back in 2019 when Pete Alonso won the whole thing. It's very much win the electoral vote, but not the electoral college sort of thing.
I know Pete Alonso, there was a point in his career where he'd made more money off of home run derbies than his actual contracts. But yeah.
Anyways, enough about the majors.
Yeah, like I was saying, unfortunately, the Pacific League totally lost out on the Home Run Derby. Though Sugimoto put up a decent score of 5 in his round, only to lose out to Shugo Maki, who's been having an amazing season and also did really well in his derby. But that brings us to the end of All-Star festivities. Gabe, do you have some milestones for us this week?
I do. Bunch of congratulations going out today. First off, to Marines speedster and outfielder Hiromi Oka for getting to 100 stolen bases in his career. He did so back on the 24th of July. He's only been caught stealing 18 times, and that 100 stolen bases is in only 724 career games. Pretty good success rate, and I know that Oka is a fan favorite for a few folks, including Steve Novosel, who we spoke to for making the pitch, because Oka has a habit of showing up clutch in tight key situations. I know one listener is going to like this one. Markun, the mascot for the Marines, reached 2,000 games appeared in on June 30th. He's the second mascot in NPB to reach the mark, with only that jerk Tsubakuro of Swallows ahead of him. He got there in August of last year. There's actually a tweet on the Marines' official Twitter account showing congratulatory messages from the other 11 teams' mascots. So congrats, Markun. Here's to another 2,000. And if you look on that Twitter account, you'll see in the pregame ceremony, Markun looked a lot different back when he debuted in 93. More like a seagull than he does now. Congrats and bonsai to a couple of Hawks firsts, to outfielder Ikumi Kai on his first career hit. He got a single on July 22nd in his first top-level game. I know that Hawks outfield can be kind of busy to break into between Yanagita, Kondo, Makihara, Shuto, Yanagimachi, but hey, way to go, Kai. And also congrats to Hawks starting pitcher Carter Stewart Jr., who picked up his first NPB win earlier yesterday. The 23-year-old from Melbourne, Florida, signed a 6-year deal with the Hawks back in 2019, neglecting to go to the Atlanta Braves after being drafted by them, and after 3 full seasons in the minors and a cup of green tea with the top club in 2021, he finally got his first W. 6 innings, 6 hits, 1 unearned run, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. His ERA is 1.57 on the season. Good to see that the experiment is finally paying off for Carter Stewart Jr. Mike, over to you.
I just want to add on congratulations to Marcoon, but they need to bring back the mysterious fish.
Yes, absolutely. I
They
think
need to bring him back.
that's a slam dunk. I think the Mysterious Fish is the best mascot I've ever seen in anything ever, and it's a damn shame we don't have him out here anymore.
And also, on Carter Stewart Jr., I did see that article. Did you read that article at all, Gabe? That got sent in our group chat earlier.
No, but kudos to our producer for the Midnight Matinees for sending that our way.
I recommend reading it. It was pretty interesting. It was just about how, at first, kind of resistant to the Japanese way of doing things, as most, new foreign players are, especially someone that young. Like, he couldn't, he tried to do the 3,000-meter run that they all do in spring training, and he just couldn't do it. And only now is he able to finally, stomach Japanese food all these years later.
Now, I find
Apparently-
that strange. Like, yeah.
I find the seafood thing a bit weird, being that he's from Florida, but, everyone's different.
Maybe he just needed burgers and franks.
Could be.
And so I think that brings us over to our first ad break, and I believe we have a new ad, so do take a listen to that.
Every day across America, thousands of baseball fans are starving for live games because they're stuck working the night shift. They can't watch games live and are left to scavenge for highlight reels on YouTube. It doesn't have to be this way. For just 1,500 yen per month, you can sponsor a shift worker to get access to Pacific League TV. Live broadcasts, including farm team games, with start times between midnight and 5 a.m. Eastern, all blackout free. Your subscription also includes a decade's worth of full game videos on demand. Please find it in your heart to give the joy of Pacific League TV to the fans in your life. Visit pacificleague.com to sign up.
And that brings us to our main segment of the show, Around the Horn, where we take an in-depth look at all the teams in the league from top to bottom and do a little news story on them and see what we have going on. And as usual, as we've grown quite accustomed to in the past couple weeks here, we start off with the league-leading Oryx Buffaloes. Take it away, Gabe.
League leading for now, I want to put the asterisk. 2-2 record since coming back from the All-Star break. Took 2 from the Fighters at their place and then dropped a pair to the Hawks at home. They were off today. Still, 3 clear of the Marines and 6 up on the Hawks. Still the best record in all of NPB, but they can't rest on their laurels. They have to keep winning games against top-flight clubs. One way to do that is to keep slugging the baseball, and Leandro Cedeno cannot be stopped. He hit home runs in 4 straight games across the All-Star break. That puts him at 7 homers in 23 games, good for a 284, 319, 642 slash line as of yesterday. Needless to say, Tomoya Mori's absence is not felt as acutely with Cedeno slugging like that. A bit of an oddity caught by the Pacific League Twitter account back on July 22nd, in that starting pitcher Taisuke Yamaoka for the Buffaloes came out onto the field in Hotomoto Field, Kobe, with a wrong jersey. Yamaoka normally wears number 19, along with the other Buffalo starters. Yamamoto wears 18, Yamashita wears 12, Miyagi wears 13. It's kind of a thing they got. But instead, he's wearing the jersey of someone named Kiyota, wearing number 112. It's atypical for someone in the majors to see a triple-digit jersey number, but it's quite common in NPB. Normally, those are players on developmental contracts. They get triple-digit jersey numbers. Some use a leading 0. Some go to the hundreds or 200s. The goofy thing is, I looked. There's no Kyoto number 112 on the Oryx roster this year or in the last 5, so I have no idea where he found this thing. More importantly, he was able to get the right jersey for the following inning, so that much will remain a mystery. Via Yahoo News, I spotted this. Frank the Tank Schwindel is heading back to the U.S. temporarily to have his lower back examined. He's only been able to play in 20 games with the top club this season with 1 home run, batting 188. So hopefully Frank the Tank can get whatever is wrong with him righted and contribute down the stretch. And finally, congrats to Shunpeita Yamashita for winning the Brave Player Award in Game 2 of the All-Star Series. That comes with a cool 1 million yen prize.
What is the Brave Player Award?
I think it's just not quite MVP, but we appreciate your contributions.
Okay, well, that's nice. And I think that brings us over to the second place team in the league, the Chiba Lotte Marines. Take it away, Mike.
And as Gabe said, second place for now. They're coming, Oryx. Lotte is 5 for 5 in their last 10. I don't think they took as much advantage of the SoftBank skid as they probably should have. SoftBank lost like what, 9 in a row?
Yeah,
Something like that.
I'll get there.
So, I mean, they gained ground. They're in second place. They're 3 games back of Oryx. The news that everybody's talking about and what I should cover first is Hiroki Sasaki is injured and potentially out for the rest of the regular season. It was a torn oblique. I don't know how bad it was, but I'm seeing a lot of people all around the internet just saying, "Oh, is this the start of, his injury history? Oh, he's injury prone." Get real. Honestly, it's an oblique injury. It's not to his elbow. It's not to his arm. And he's been pitching since what, 2020 for NPB, throwing 100 plus. He's been throwing 100 plus since he was like 16. And the only injury he has right now is a blister. And this injury that just happened, I don't think there's any need to panic with that yet. Just be grateful it's not his elbow. And interestingly, that I saw on Yahoo earlier, Koki Yamaguchi's former high school has secured a invitation to Koshin, the high school baseball tournament that will be next month. So he's excited about that and made a YouTube video giving out his good luck and blessings. And in some WBC news, the Czech national team, which won the hearts of pretty much everybody last WBC, they're going to be attending NPB games in August, with the first one being on August 1st between Lotte and Nippon Ham. They're going to try and spread the goodwill of baseball and try and interact with, all the fans that they can. Lotte seems to have a interesting relationship with the Czech national team because after the World Baseball Classic, after elimination, I forget which player it was that gave them like cases of Lotte candy. So there seems to be some goodwill there between the Czech national team and Lotte.
That was Sasaki.
That was Sasaki. Okay, I didn't remember who exactly did it, but now I do, and I remember that he didn't get it from the team itself. He had to buy it with his own money.
Yeah, and that was to apologize for a hit by pitch. The batter was Willie Escala.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. How did I delete that? I was in Japan at the time. I was probably staring at a vending machine when that happened. Yeah, Lotte just needs to continue doing what they're doing, and I think that once again they're going to end the season in A class. They just got to learn to. Sasaki wasn't necessarily win day, but it really does help when he's pitching. I think they'll be able to overcome that major injury.
Well, when you say overcome, you mean they won't fall out of the playoffs, or you think they have a shot at the pennant? Because
I don't think they'll get too rattled about it. Sometimes like when a key player goes down, even if it's like a pitcher only pitches once, an NPB every 6 days, sometimes teams just seem to fall apart after that. I don't think it'll affect them that bad, I should say. I think they'll be able to work around that and overcome the shock and be able to stay in the playoffs at minimum until he comes back for the postseason, if he does.
It's just a matter of finding the next man up and the next player who can join the team. I actually spotted this from the Lotte Marines Twitter earlier today. Keisuke Sawada has been registered from a developmental contract to join the big league club. I think he's going to be pitching out of the bullpen, but still, those reinforcements are coming.
And I believe that brings us over to the reeling SoftBank Hawks, who since last we spoke have managed to pick up 2 wins, so that's nice, even though that's a 2-4 only since the All-Star break. Their recent 12-game losing streak that ended with those 2 wins was the longest losing streak they've had since 1969, when they lost 15 games in a row. So historically unprecedentedly bad form by the Hawks recently, but hey, listen, let's be positive. They picked up 2 wins, and in those 2 wins, they managed to score a lot of runs. So maybe whatever weirdness was ailing them around the All-Star break is going away now, and the bats are waking back up. One impressive performance I really want to highlight, though, is Kohei Arihara pitched an absolute gem of a game on Monday against Oryx, picking up a complete game shutout with 11 strikeouts and only 6 hits, outdueling Yamamoto. And with Levan Moinello still out, they have gone broad to try and pick up a new signing Darwinzon Hernandez, as per Yahoo News. Hernandez formerly pitched for the Red Sox at the major league level and was last seen on the Orioles AAA squad. I hope the Hawks can get their attitude back together. They looked great earlier in the season. I really don't know what has been ailing them recently, but hopefully they get back to the win column soon and can stay in playoff contention, because there is a team hot on their tails. They may have lost today in our baseball for breakfast, but that brings us over to the 4th place Rocketton Golden Eagles.
Rocketton Eagles fans, your time is now. Well, last time we did this, they were 9-1, I believe, was their record in last 10. Now They're 7-3. They lost today, but that was yesterday as well, but they're still going strong. And now officially, Hideto Asamura leads the team in pretty much every offensive category imaginable. So big turnaround for him from earlier in the season when he was leading the league in average at like 237 or something. So they're doing really well. Today, Tanaka, it seemed like a typical 2023 Tanaka start. Starts out really strong and then it just seems to just fall apart out of nowhere. And
I spotted this on Twitter. One of the NPB pundits I follow suggested it might be just that he needs to reinvent his arsenal a little bit and play himself more as like an 8 kg veteran control pitcher, someone in like the Takayuki Kishi or Manabu Mima mold, as opposed to the Tanaka of old, and maybe he can get over that fifth inning hump.
But I feel like that is the way he's pitching lately. Like, I don't see him trying to overpower guys. He is using a lot of breaking stuff. I think that even might be the problem, is that he's using so much breaking stuff that by the second or third time around the lineup, everyone's seen it and they just know how to hit it at that point.
That's a fair point, Jimbo.
I was also thinking, he was in MLB for however many years, and MLB, advanced metrics and advanced data is just out there openly and free. You don't have to look for it. You can just find it. It's easy to get. MPB stuff, tends to be more controlled by the teams and a bit harder to find or compiled by fans. So I'm wondering if teams batting against Tanaka have that as the advantage. You can just Google Masahiro Tanaka and find everything about him from all sorts of MLB provided websites. Granted, that was however many years ago, but there's so much sabermetrics out there about him. I think, it's not the same as when he was pitching there before. And yeah, today he threw a lot of breaking stuff, and a couple of times it seemed like he was challenging people with fastballs, and he was getting lots of misses on them when he did throw one. I think was it Monami that he just had him down on 3 pitches?
Yeah, Monami, he got twisted very hard.
It was like fastball low, fastball down the middle. He was done. Maybe there was a breaking something in there, but like his fastball seemed way better than everything else he threw. So I don't know. But yeah, they just need to continue on with what they're doing. And yeah, once again, I attribute this all to the hitting coach because they just even seem like they're hitting different now compared to earlier in the season. Like, they seem much more confident up there, and they're destroying baseballs. Like Asamura flew out a few times, but like his contact was great. Everyone's contact was pretty much great. Like it seems like if the lead's lost, you trust them to get it back.
Yeah, they definitely do seem to have a much more patient approach now. They're letting the ball come to them a lot more from what I saw in today's game. So yeah, I'm really surprised that coaching change has made such a difference.
Reminds me I think it was 2021. I think the Philadelphia Phillies, obviously my local team, blah blah blah. They fired their hitting coach and they replaced it with NPB, foreign great Charlie Manuel, who was also their manager, and all of a sudden their hitting completely changed like the next game.
Interesting.
And that's it.
And that brings us over to the new hottest team in baseball, the surprising Saitama Seibu Lions. It feels really weird to say, but they've been 3-1 since the All-Star break and 9-1 in their last 10. And as I've said all year, they have the talent, but they can't get on the same page. And now it really looks like they are on the same page because the North Tokyo Club is finally playing with a lot of cohesion. Among these things to point out, SAS Baseball on Twitter points out that Takeo Nakamura leads all PL batters in a hard hit rate with 37%, with the only 2 guys over him are guys from the other league, so we won't mention them. Other people, though, in the Pacific League who lead the stats are Tomoya Mori and Kensuke Kondo, and Koki Yamaguchi and Shuta Tonosaki. So there's another Lion, just going to show how much the bats are starting to wake up for them. Also, Sosuke Genda is leading the league in defensive runs saved, despite the fact that he's missed about half the season. So just goes to show how important he is on the defensive end. Other exceptional performances I want to point out. Kona Takahashi sliced and diced the Marines for 9 innings of shutout ball with 7 strikeouts and only 6 base runners allowed the whole game. And I'm pretty sure that is the second time this season Takahashi's gone a full 9 innings against the Marines. Last time he gave up 1 run, but still, he seems to really have the team's number. And maybe the Lions can play spoiler to teams now. They kind of look like the Eagles in terms of picking up momentum and getting into the rhythm of things. And if the Hawks keep losing, I mean, it's anyone's ball game for that third position in the playoffs.
That third coffee must have kicked in, didn't it, Jimbo?
A little bit. Yeah, I'm happy. Yeah, man, I ran through those points.
Okay.
And so that brings us over to the bottom of the league. I'm very sorry to say the team that is experiencing a level of pain and sadness that I cannot express. It was the hot topic in our most recent game we just did, the Baseball for Breakfast. All the Fighters fans are like, I don't care if we have a 10-run lead. This isn't over yet. And so that brings us over to the Nippon Ham Fighters. Gabe, take it away.
Pain. 13 straight losses, one shy of the team record that was set in 1984. This is the first time in NPB history that two teams in the same league had double-digit losing streaks. The other was the Hawks, as Jimbo mentioned earlier. At least they've been able to pull off back-to-back wins. Interestingly enough, on run differential and thus expected wins and losses, the Fighters are better than both the Lions and the Eagles, but that's part and parcel of all the one-run losses. And sure enough, they added another one to that streak on the 22nd. I guess the only way is through at this point. But as you can see, they can string together the hits. Lots of extra base hits in today's game. We saw Kato get a long bomb. We saw a pair of triples, one from Egoshi and one from, I can't remember whom. Kiyomiya, who's playing third base all of a sudden. Like, I'm guessing Yuki Nomura is unavailable or something, because Kiyomiya is a natural first baseman. Seeing him at third and Kato moving over to first, or Ariel Martinez. Again, Shinjo is playing around with his batting lineup and his positional fielders, trying to find the optimal combination. I mean, it's not like the team has been struggling before. In May and June, they were a game above 500. They were making a season of it. And now they're, 4-14 in July? Fun fact, the league record for most consecutive losses is 18, set by the 1995 Chibalote Marines. I spotted this from SIS Baseball. Fighters catcher Torai Fushimi leads all Pacific League catchers in getting more called strikes than expected, showing off the value of his framing skills. That's something the Oryx pitching staff definitely benefited from when he was with the Buffaloes from 2013 to 2022, including the Japan Series win last season. He joined the Fighters as a free agent this offseason. Worth noting that both Lions starters, Sena Tsuge and Yuto Koga, are in the bottom of that ranking, so that may be a weakness that the Lions pitchers have to work around. They may not be getting as many called strikes as some of their competitors. Finally, we have to give a congratulations to Chusei Manami for having an outstanding All-Star Series, won the Brave Player Award in Game 1 of the All-Star Series, then the All-Star MVP and the Mainavi Dream Award in Game 2. Ariel Martinez also won Brave Player in Game 2 as well. So the awards that aren't MVP carry with them a 1 million yen bonus, MVP a 3 million yen bonus. So Chusei Manami's walking out of this with an extra $50,000 in his pocket. Not bad for 2 days of work. And hopefully that can continue to push Manami's performance higher. He's hitting career highs in all slash lines and home runs and walks. That was definitely a weak spot in his game last year. His on-base percentage was under 300. This year, a lot better, and it's because he's being more patient at the plate.
And that brings us over to another little break. We're going to play one of our How to Speak Pacific Leagues. Take a listen.
How to Speak Pacific League. Lesson 6, The Outs. You've probably seen plenty of these on the top 20 plays of the week. But do you know their Japanese terminology? Well, most of them use loan words, or a combination of them. A ground out to short is a shoto goro. A pop fly out to right is a raito furai. A double play either uses the direct loan words, or is referred to as a getsu. Get to. Got it? Good. A sacrifice is called a gisei, either furai for sack flights, or banto for the bunts that we know and love in Japan.
And we're back, and so that brings us over to our next segment. How are familiar faces doing stateside? Gabe, take it away.
Not too many updates. I only caught two things on the social medias. One is that, according to NESN, the local sports media in Boston, Masataka Yoshida has picked up a taste for clam chowder. Boston clam chowder, to be specific, not the Manhattan stuff. And this one is a bit of a stretch for familiar faces, but Fighters fans will remember Kenshi Sugiya. He's been a longtime member of the Fighters organization. But have y'all heard of the Savannah Bananas?
Yeah, I saw that.
Love the Savannah Bananas.
They're the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball, basically. And Sugiya joined the club for a game on the 24th. And sure enough, was able to get the entire roster to join him in the Fox dance that he was so famous for in Sapporo. We're not going to play the Ilvis clip because we don't own the rights to it, but you get the gist. You can take a look at the Bananas Twitter account for more information.
Quick little point there to your previous point. You guys ever have clam chowder?
I am allergic to shellfish, so no.
Well, you're lucky because clam chowder is disgusting.
I haven't had it, but I kind of figured it was an acquired, like extremely acquired taste.
Yeah, I had it once when I was out on the Maritimes, which is like the Canadian Far East Coast. It's like our version of like Boston and Maine and all that, and like disgusting, absolutely revolting.
All of Boston is currently typing.
Yeah, well, fight me.
They just might. They just might.
That's true. And so that brings us over to our final bit, our question of the day. I have this question both for you guys and the fans. With Sasaki out now for an extended period of time, is there anyone who has a snowball's chance at prying the Sawamura Award out of Yamamoto's hands?
The one thing I want to point out is that the Eiji Sawamura is across all of NPB, so he's competing with other league pitchers as well. I don't think you can sleep on Hiroki Tokoda of the Carp or Shoki Murakami of the Tigers for that award. It's a lot of competition. Yamamoto may still be ahead of it, but anything can happen in a long season. I think the more pressing question is, can anyone fend him off for Pacific League MVP? And if Hideto Asamura is able to drag the Eagles kicking and screaming into the postseason, I don't know how you don't give it to him.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Asamura looks like a really good choice. And, you know, I've said it many times, but if Yuki Nagita comes back to...
could be Gita as well.
You know, so yeah, I mean, maybe. But I think this... I mean, I know he'll have to do all the other pitchers in the other league, but it almost feels like it's his to lose. Though, I mean, there's also...
young Buffalo's pitcher kind of
Shunpeita, yeah.
Yeah. Is there another guy?
Sachia Yamasaki's also having a good season.
Right. There we go. Well, listen, it's the Buffaloes. Buffalo's going to win it. How about that? That's my prediction.
Ooh, spicy.
And so, yeah, I guess that brings us to the end of today's show. It was a lot looser and a lot shorter than usual because Mike and I are very tired. As usual, do all that YouTube stuff, like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to see you next time. Take care.